I taught 4th through 8th grade English, and most of my students started the year 1 to 3 grade levels behind. Sadly, many students never catch up in high school.
As a high school teacher, I'm here to inform you that high school kids are doing way worse. They are reading 6 years below grade level. The only difference is a whole heap of these kids are going to graduate at the end of this school year, and we are expecting them to go to college and obtain jobs when they cannot even comprehend basic skills. There are literally high school kids reading on a 3rd grade reading level, and still states are expecting teachers to prepare kids and have them pass state tests are on or above grade level. See, the issue is schools have dumbed it down for kids. They have made it so easy that kids believe that their only job is to show up and behave, and that should be enough to get a passing grade and to go on to the next grade level. We have a real issue here, and please do not talk to me about graduation rates, because Bugs Bunny could graduate in this era.
Teachers are quitting, children can't read, and 3 things are driving this crisis that no one wants to talk about openly. The first is a decision made inside classrooms decades ago that schools are still making today. The second is a system more concerned with funding than with children. And the third is happening at home. Until we are honest about all 3, nothing changes, and your child keeps paying the price.
There is a crisis happening in the classrooms, and the teachers on the front lines are the ones sounding the alarms.
So yesterday I came to the realization my students can't read.
I teach 7th grade, they are still performing on the 4th grade level.
When I tell you that these babies cannot read, they cannot write, and they cannot comprehend, I'm not being funny.
You know the thing kids go to school to do, like learn the fundamental skills used to go through everyday life? Yeah, that's not clicking anymore.
Vast majority of students that I teach in my class do not know how to read, write, comprehend, critical think. They just cannot.
And okay, it's easy to chop it up to the pandemic, maybe them damn phones. Maybe the kids who never learned the basics were the first ones to multiply.
Everyone's always saying, oh, the kids are lost. Like, the kids don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, they're so disrespectful, they have no social skills, they're just iPad kids times 1,000. Like, it's so bad, it's so awful. Yeah, because the hot Cheeto girls became parents first.
Regardless of the cause, the clock is still ticking. From kids to teens, almost young adults, they keep hitting more milestones. They keep absorbing content and trends meant for people twice their age, but their development isn't keeping up.
She wore a sahalit of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro.
She wore a, oh baby. To wear a silhouette of clothes that were, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why.
I'm sure you've all seen the videos and the TikToks. Gen Alpha can't read, they don't play outside, brain rot, iPad kid. It's a conversation that's spiraling all over the internet. But in this video, we need to talk about the root cause of the crisis that no one else is discussing, and also how these kids were basically set up to fail from the jump.
Every parent sends their child to school believing they will learn to read. But right now, millions of children are leaving classrooms every single year without that basic skill. I taught reading in the public school system for 5 years. I saw children struggle, falling behind, and being passed to the next grade anyway. In 2010, I opened my own tutoring and homeschool program and ran it until I retired in 2019. What I saw in both places confirmed the same thing. The system is not working, and your child is paying the price. Today, we're going to talk about why and what you can do right now. Decades ago, schools made a quiet switch in how they taught children to read. Instead of phonics, sounding out letters and combinations, they moved to sight words. Children were asked to memorize words by shape and look. And it created the crises we're living in right now. The human brain is not built to memorize thousands of individual words. Phonics gives a child a system. Once they understand how letters and sounds work together, they can decode any word they have never seen before. Sight words give them a list, and those lists are good, but phonics gives them a tool. I watch students recite their sight word lists perfectly and then fall apart the moment they hit an unfamiliar word. That is not reading, that is memorization, and memorization has a limit or a ceiling. I know what illiteracy does to a person because I watched it in my own family. My brother could not read for years and kept it a secret. Not because he wasn't smart, but because of the shame of it was too heavy to carry. That shame doesn't stay quiet. It turns into something else. When I use phonics-based instruction in my tutoring program, children who had been struggling for years started reading within weeks. The method was never the mystery. It was always the choice being made inside of those classrooms. When I taught 7th and 8th grade between the years of 2000 and 2005, I walked into classrooms with young men who were already 17 and 18 years old. Some had criminal records. Many could not read, not because they were not intelligent, because they were, but because the system had moved them forward for years without ever fixing the foundation. And here is something I saw from the inside that most people never hear about. Teachers in inner city schools were being pressured to teach to a test. Every week, administrators would monitor whether you were following the curriculum outline and hitting the objectives you had listed. The focus was not on whether children were learning. The focus was on whether the paperwork looked right. Because if the school appeared to be hitting certain academic benchmarks, they kept their state funding. Everyone in that building knew the children did not have the skills, but the pressure was to make it look like they did. That is not education. That is a performance put on for the state at the expense of your child. Now, I want to be fair because fairness matters. The assistant principal at the school where I taught was different. She saw what was happening in the system. She gave us room within the required curriculum to do what we needed to do to actually bring our students up. Many times it was a difficult balance for all of us, but we got it done because she had the courage to prioritize children over compliance. Not every school has that person, sadly, and that is part of the problem. You cannot ask a young man who cannot read to read out loud in front of his peers. Don't do that. The embarrassment doesn't just make a child quiet. It can spark rage, real anger. Being exposed like that is humiliating in a way that goes very deep. So I changed my approaches. I never called on them to read aloud in class. I kept them after and let them read privately, just the two of us. No audience, no pressure, just me, them, and the school aide that was assigned to my class. And in that space, something shifted. They were willing to try. And when they tried, they could read and they could learn. And they start enjoying it, feeling excited about coming to school. That improved the attendance. Teachers are not quitting because they stop caring. They are quitting because they are being asked to chase numbers instead of teach children, and then being blamed when the children still can't read.
There are a lot of people who are confused as to how the literacy crisis got so bad in this country. Let me show you how. Now, I have 25 students on my roster. One is out today, so there were 24 students present in class, okay? 24 students. Let me show you their book bags. These are my students' book bags, okay? There are 12. There are 12 book bags behind me, yet I have 24 students. So you do the math and tell me how many students came to school without a book bag. If you said 12, congratulations, you can do basic math. But what does that mean? 12 kids, which is half of the class, came to school with a book bag, and that means half of the class didn't. Half of the class showed up with no book bag. That means they also showed up with no paper, no pencils, no writing utensils. They showed up with nothing. Now, these kids that are coming in here with nothing, they're not just coming in here physically with nothing. When these kids with no book bags and no school supplies show up and they come, they're not coming to school to learn. They don't come here with the intention that they are about to learn anything. How do y'all expect teachers to teach children that come to school with zero expectations to be learning anything? They don't want to follow directions. They don't want to do what the teacher tells them to do. They don't want to participate in class. They don't want to do anything. And the class that I'm in right now, half of the day is us literally just trying to keep the whole class awake. A child's not going to know to go out and buy themselves a book bag. A child is not going to give themselves a bedtime so that they can get up for school. People aren't parenting their children, and it's literally destroying this country.
Today, teachers are not just dealing with children who cannot read. They are dealing with parents who are combative, aggressive, and at times more immature than the children sitting in those classrooms. The parents of those young men in that alternative school where I taught, most of them showed up. They were concerned. They wanted their sons to make the most of that last chance. And that mindset is what made a big difference. But that is not what teachers are experiencing today.
And let me tell you what it really boils down to. Either support teachers, listen to teachers, and understand that the reason that we are complaining or we are bringing certain issues to light is because it is literally becoming impossible for us to manage our classrooms, for us to teach lessons. If we do not start adjusting, reevaluating what is happening in these classrooms and supporting teachers more, and like I said, that starts with actually listening to them and stop blaming them for what is and what is not being done, we're going to lose teachers. We're going to lose great teachers. There are some people that literally went to school to do this job. This was their passion. This was all they wanted to do until it got bad. Until they start realizing my opinion is not valued. I am not respected. I am not even appreciated by the people that I'm servicing. And until we change that, teachers are going to continue leaving and there will be no more teachers. Okay, bye.
The teachers are leaving. The teachers are getting the hell out of the classroom. And here's some of the main reasons why I think that teachers should do a mass exodus out of the classroom. One, it's been so normalized that teachers have to deal with over 20 kids in a classroom and no support. That's not normal. It's not normal for an adult to be in charge of over 20 kids in a classroom. Not only is it not normal, but it's dangerous. Two, the parents are out of touch. The parents are out of touch. I have never met a more group of out of touch people than the parents of elementary school kids. Not only are they out of touch, but they lack accountability for their children's behaviors. They make it the teacher's problem. They make it the administration's problem. Here's one of my craziest school stories. I have a crazy school story that I would like to share. There was a little boy who was a problem. Big problem. He got in a fight with a little girl. These are kindergartners. He was 5, she was 5. But he spun her around and threw her.
Yeah, parents need to be more accountable for what their children are doing in school. They completely disconnected. If your child gets in trouble, then you're going to go off on a teacher and you're not going to hold the child accountable. When I was coming up, it was standard that if you got in trouble, then you're going to get it when you get home too. The teacher was an extension of the parent, not solely responsible for disciplining, raising, feeding. It's almost like people drop their kids off and use school as overglorified babysitting instead of actually participating in the well-being of their children's lives. They don't even know how to help their children. The parents can't even read nowadays. It's that bad. And now they depending on tablets and AI. AI been introduced, and now it's all downhill from there. Would I have a child today under these circumstances? Probably not.
A teacher who raises a concern about a child's reading is not attacking your family or your parenting skills. They're trying to help your child. But when parents respond with hostility instead of partnership, teachers shut down. They shut down. They're not getting paid enough to go through all of that and to be attacked physically, emotionally. And eventually they walk out. Good teachers walk out. They find somewhere else and another way to use their gifts and skills. The lack of parental involvement is one of the leading reasons children cannot read. Not just absence, but the wrong kind of presence. Showing up to argue instead of showing up to ask how you can help is not involvement. You are becoming an obstacle to your child's learning. Homeschooling is not a parent at a kitchen table trying to remember everything from school. Done right, it is one of the most structured and effective educational paths a child can take. You start with an educational consultant, someone who assesses your child, understands where they are, and builds a curriculum specifically for them. Not a one-size-fits-all program. A plan built around your child's pace, strengths, and gaps. That consultant sets the pace and tells you exactly what to cover and when. And because you are working one-on-one, you can go back whenever you notices that the child is not grasping the concepts or the material. If your child does not understand something, you do not move on because the calendar says to. You stay there until it clicks. No classroom of 30 or more can offer that opportunity. Some parents worry they're not qualified, but you do not have to know everything, family. You have to be present, consistent, and willing to follow the plan. The qualifications that matter most is that you know your child better than any teacher ever will. I think about those young men from my classroom, 17 and 18 years old, that being their last real chance. Many could not read. None wanted anyone to know. And all it took to begin changing that was one person willing to meet them privately, without judgment, without mockery, and start from the beginning. Your child deserves that same chance, and you are the person who could give it to them. If this video spoke to you, like it, share it with another parent who needs to hear this. And leave a thoughtful comment below. The video clips related to this topic that I referenced are linked in the description below. Go watch them. They will show you exactly what is happening in classrooms right now. I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. Because when family still matters, the education of our children is never something we leave entirely in someone else's hands. God placed these children in our care for a reason. Let's honor that. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to leave you with this scripture in Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. May God continue to richly bless you. God bless.